Are we live? Welcome to an early rendition of Too Early for this podcast. It's your host and moderator. I'm Krista Dom One. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, share this live stream with your friends, family, and followers. Hit the notification bell if you want to support this channel even further. Hit the join membership. Membership has its privileges, as well as you can donate to this live stream such as super chats as well as cash app, dollar sign. I'm Krista Don One. The stream sponsor, by the way, is Ryan. Ryan donated through Cash App. Excuse me. I mentioned it in previous live streams, but I decided anyone that donates through super chat or Cash App will be the stream sponsor. So I want to give a huge shout out to Ryan. Are we live? Yes, we're live. Back in full effect. Stream sponsor is Ryan. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. We're already struggle streaming, folks. So, point of order. We're gonna be talking about Dana Laney, the baby's baby mama. She got jammed up with a DUI ski. All right. Michelle Rodriguez. She was drunk as a skunk. Said some very controversial things while she's drunk, as well as Sean Diddy Combs' son, Justin Combs. He got caught with a DUI. We're also going to be talking about Young Buck. He's from Keyesville, Tennessee. You know, that's my hometown. We're gonna be talking about him and 50 Cent. Apparently, 50 Cent is going to sell off his music catalog to pay off the debt. And we're going to be talking about Tim Scott versus The View, as well as other topics. So that's the point of order. Let's get into the first bevy of stuff we're going to be talking about. And that's Dana Laney. I think I butchered her name, but you guys know I butcher names on a constant, consistent basis. You heard me? She is, a social media influencer. Basically, she's famous for simply doing nothing. One of those gals. All right. She's more famous for being the baby's baby mama and having a child by the baby. And they're no longer together, but they're co-parenting. It started off rough between the two when they broke up, or the baby got caught cheating out here in these streets. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. And her brother got into it when she and the baby was going back and forth and back. He said some very unflattering things about the baby, challenged the baby to a fight on social media. And the one thing about social media is whatever you say on social media, you got to be about that life in real life. And he got beat down by the baby and the squad. at a bowling alley. Okay, they split his head between the 7th and the 8th pin. You know, beating him beating him into commission. The man got roughed up, and that's pretty much it. The Theo's piece of Dana Delaney. Well, she was out wilding out in Miami, and driving while drunk, okay, dumb under the influence, and she hit somebody. Uh, she hit somebody. Ended up carrying this person in her vehicle outside the vehicle, and when the police stopped her a block away, she smelled reeking of alcohol. Her, her beverage of choice is Patron. All right, we all know what Patron do to you. Okay, it doesn't matter if you can handle drinks or you can't handle drinks at all. You shouldn't be drinking and driving. Okay, all right. Because if you drink and drive, you're gonna end up losing your life or losing someone else's life in the process. And drinking and driving is wrong, folks. Okay, just know what you know. Know what you know. All right. So the police called her. She was reeking of alcohol, and they slapped her with a DUI ski. All right. So a lot of people feel like they should, have no mercy on this lady. I don't really have too much mercy on this lady. You could have killed somebody. All right. That's where I'm coming from with the whole matter. You could have killed somebody. And, this could have went really left and really bad real fast, real quick. I do apologize for the noise in the background if you guys can hear it. But yeah, Dana Delaney, she was in jail. She took her mug shot. TMZ was all over it. TMZ is all over the messy stuff. Okay, TMZ is about the messy life. Okay, and we're gonna be talking about another celebrity who got caught out here in the street drinking. But yeah, she was locked up, and a lot of people feel like she's going to be locked up for a while. Look here, no matter how of a Z-list rating as far as celebrity wise go to Dana Delaney, she's still going to have enough money to afford a good lawyer. Okay, an average lawyer, if this is your first DUI, can you're going to serve some jail time, but the rest of the time you're going to be on probation, and you have to you get a second chance, particularly with your first DUI. Now when you start getting the seconds and the thirds, when you get up there and you start crossing out them numbers of how many DUIs you done had, it goes from bad to worse. Okay, you're just playing Russian roulette with your life, and you're just gambling with your freedom. But anywho, she's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all good for her, and she's gonna get her a great lawyer, not an average lawyer, not a below average lawyer. She's not gonna get a public defender, and I'm not gonna say she's gonna escape by these charges. She's gonna have these charges on her record. People still gonna know her more for that. And she's going to have some embarrassment. She's going to have to do some jail time. And she's going to be out more so on probation. And she get a second chance. So, look here. Drinking and driving is wrong, okay? You shouldn't be out here in these streets with, smelling like a vodka factory, reeking of vodka. When you got too many drinks in you, or if you have just one drink in you, it impels your senses, and you're just not able to drive a vehicle. So shout out, not shout out, but she's going to get a second chance with that, and that's all I got to say on that topic. I will say this. I will say this. I should turn off. Yeah, I definitely should turn off. I wanted to check out something. All right, just give me 1 second. Speaking of Dana Delaney, the baby was in the news. I think he was on tour or at a concert, and one of his female fans walked up to him and said, "Yo, let me give you some top O's," right? Right in a busy intersection, which was a hallway or an airport. I think he was in the airport, and he played like, he just played along with it. And the girl thought he was serious. I'm like, don't be scared. I'll give you some top right now. Cooler heads prevail. Not the little head, but the big head. Pause. All right. Cooler heads did prevail. His security team uh, extradited him immediately from that situation. But I don't think the baby was going to do anything with this lady. But I just thought it was weird. This lady going to ask the baby. She was ready to give him that spread. She was ready to give him that microwave romance. She was about to give up the top. Pause. I don't think I should have to say pause when it's a female giving you head. But anywho, ladies, be somewhat classy out here in these streets, okay? I don't, it's just wow. That does not make you. That does not. That is not going to look good. That's going to definitely be a stain if that's all you're famous for. By asking the baby for some top, okay? But yeah, it is what it is, folks. You know, Jesus. Jesus. Get asking the baby. Oh my God. I hate when people just, oh my God. Okay, well, we'll just, no biggie. We'll just do it right here. Do it right here. Okay. I'm about to come in the house real fast, real quick. But yeah, that's it on the baby news and Dana Delaney news. And we're going to move from both of those incidents. And we're going to be talking about real fast, real quick. Hold on, let me put the mic on pause. All right, mic's on pause. Okay, let's move on to the next order of business. Justin Combs, too, called a DUI. I believe it was in Miami. Justin Combs was definitely acting bad. Okay, demonstrating making bad decisions and demonstrating bad behavior. Act bad, act bad, act bad, act bad. If you look good, act bad. If you look good, act bad. Okay, pause on that. On that song, I think it's one of those catchy songs. I don't. A lot of people think that's going to be the song of the summer. City Girls with Diddy and Fabulous. I kind of, I think it's a catchy song. I don't think it's a good song, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Justin Combs. Justin Combs was caught with, he too got a DUI out here in these streets. Look here, man, folks. I guess this was, summer is the season for DUIs. Everybody's been in the house. Everybody, it's getting heat. It's getting a little warmer. You can tell when the introduction of summer it starts to begin, or when it starts to get hot in your city. When you start seeing the females wearing less and less clothes. They introduced the booty shorts, the Daisy Dukes, okay, the mini skirts that are real too small, too mini. You get to see a lot of cleavage, and you get to see a lot of buttocks, okay? I'm talking about the women. Everybody's wearing shorts and short shorts and even shorter short shorts or nothing at all. It's that time of the season when everything, when it starts getting a little bit warmer or hotter, everybody wants to go out. All right. And I feel at Justin Combs, when I did research on this story, I forgot about Justin Combs. But when I was doing research on the story, of course we know he's Diddy's son. But also I forgot that Justin Combs was in USC at one point in time. And I forgot about this. When I talked about this about him going to USC and playing football. It just didn't work out with USC. And he pulled out of football but remained in college to to have a degree or an understanding about the performing arts. And he's been moving and grooving. When he left USC, I think it's USC. But anyway, but this is more so about the story at hand. He got caught with a DUI, and look here, he's Diddy's son. Okay, folks. If y'all think that he's going to serve the rest of his life in jail, you're sadly mistaken. I do believe that this is his first DUI and probably the last. Okay, and look here, he's just going to have to he did a little jail time when he got locked up. He's also going to have to he's probably going to be on probation. Maybe take a few courses about the importance of not drinking and driving. And he's going to be all good in the hood, folks. He's not going to be locked up for the rest of his life. A lot of people have a DUI on their case. And if it's your first, you're able to have a very successful life. And just like we said about the baby mama, the first offense is sustained. It shows on your record, but you have the opportunity to have a second chance and a second crack at it, and you just don't make a mistake like that down the road. And also these two are so young. I think they'll be good if this is their first one. And I don't think it will lead into multiple DUIs. It's just, hey, look, when you're drinking, and I understand everybody wants to go to the party, what wants to be the life of the party. I know everyone wants to get outside. I know everyone wants to act bad, and have one of those times of their lives, weekends, best time, what a time to be alive weekend. But hey, y'all, just be careful out there. Don't drink and drive. I mean, when you talk about these two individuals, they're able to get Ubers, they limo drivers. They don't necessarily have to jump behind the wheel. Well, there's no excuse for anyone to have a DUI. If I don't care if you drink one drink or multiple drinks, you're not able nor capable to drive a vehicle. So my advice to you is if you know you're going to be drinking, or if you're going to a party and you are a drinker, just get you an Uber. Just take an Uber there, take an Uber back. Okay. That it is what it is. So Justin Combs, he's going to be all right. We're going to move on from that particular topic to Michelle Rodriguez and TMZ. Doom, doom, doom. They know drama. They shown us a clip of Michelle Rodriguez drunk as a skunk. Her forehead was almost about to be introduced to a stop sign, because when she came off that street ledge, she was gonna go face first on the on the street, or hit the stop sign, or hit the car, because you could clearly tell that she was drunk as a skunk. She just had a slur in her talk, wasn't making the best decisions or saying the best things. I mean, you're a celebrity. You're in the Fast and Furious. There's talk about when the Fast and Furious ends, they're gonna have these other movies in the Fast and Furious universe. And there was talk about you starring in your a spinoff of the Fast and Furious. You was also in Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, you're at the apex of your career. And when you look at her track record, Michelle Rodriguez, I mean, she also has uh, been in the news for the wrong reasons. And this lady done had second chances, third chances, fourth chances, fifth chances. But at the end of the day, you do get a second chance. And now more than ever in this society, everybody is ready to cancel people. She hasn't been canceled yet because she's a likable celebrity. She just says a lot of crazy. She just says and do a lot of crazy things when she's under the influence of vodka, Henny, Crown, whatever her drink of choice is. She just says a lot of crazy things. I think with the TMZ clip, she was talking about superheroes. Why, it sounded kind of it sounded kind of racist. But it's weird what she said. But anywho, I just think, man, like I said, the blame it, Millie Vanilli had a song "Blame It on the Rain," and Jamie Foxx had a song called "Blame It on the Alcohol." Okay, we just need to blame it on the summer. Okay, it was hot girl summer a couple of years ago. I think this is a DUI summer. All right. This summer is going to be sponsored by DUI. I feel like a lot of people are going to be getting multiple DUIs or just being drunk as a skunk because everybody wants to. This is the season where everybody wants to go out, wants to show out. Okay. So Michelle Rodriguez was drunk as a skunk, said some not so flattering things, made a fool of herself, and almost fell. And her forehead was about to be introduced to a stop sign or the road or maybe into the car. But anywho, she got that second step to recover while she was drunk. All right. If they would have made her do a field sobriety test and told her to walk in a straight line for 30 steps, I don't think she'll probably would have made it to a woo and then fell to the floor. That's how drunk that lady was. That lady was drunk. All right. So yeah, we got all the DUIs and drunk as a skunk stories on out of the way. We're gonna move from all of those stories into the on saga as the world turns around Young Buck and 50 Cent. Okay. Now, if been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain very briefly. Young Buck and 50 had been beefing. And then it took to social media because everyone knows 50 Cent. 50 Cent could be a little messy, and sometimes you just gonna have to just let it go. Now is not the time to have thin skin. Young Buck has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. And you know, he was talking about how 50 Cent he wasn't really very supported in his music, and he's talking this and that about 50 Cent. But this is his second contract with 50 Cent, and he he managed to get out of it the first time around, came back for seconds, and now there's an issue about what Young Buck owes 50 Cent. And obviously 50 Cent realized that, and he's a businessman, but he's also petty and he's also messy. And I just think Young Buck is not really in a position to pay off this debt to 50 Cent. I believe that Young Buck filed for bankruptcy a while ago, and now 50 Cent is just simply going to sell Young Buck's music catalog to the highest bidder, and he's going to wherever he gets off of Young Buck's catalog, he's just going to apply to the debt that Young Buck owes. And it is what it is. So someone can own Young Buck's catalog, which that catalog has some great hits. And I'm not trying to be funny, but "Let Me In" was the Southern anthem for Cashville. "Shorty Wanna Ride With Me," okay. And he has some other songs as well. great. I mean, he's lyrically wise, he's good with the pen, but he has been in trouble in the news recently, and he's just in a lot of beefs with a lot of people. I will say this about Young Buck, and I remember talking about this on a video about Young Buck. You know, I have met Young Buck before. Young Buck is a good dude. All right, he's a good, solid dude. All right, you know, a nice guy. I can't really say anything bad about Young Buck. Now, I don't know, haven't done any business with Young Buck, but whenever I see him in the streets of Cashville, you know, and I told y'all the three times, the three stories of me and Young Buck. And I told you the first time I was introduced to Young Buck, I knew Young Buck before all this, but you know, in a point of order, I used to live in this complex, and there was some houses across the street, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and I just kept hearing some loud music, and just like a bunch of motorcycles. I'm saying, and that's the first I have ever heard of this in this apartment complex. Because this is a very good street. It's not the hood, so I immediately jump up out the couch and walk out to the front door, and there's an entourage of motorcycle. It's like a motorcycle gang slash a 6'4". It was just some unexpected stuff you would never thought you would see on a below average Saturday. And Young Buck was in the middle of all that, and basically Young Buck went to one. He had a friend. I knew about this later on. He was going to see his friend who lived in a house not too far from where my apartments were, and they're good friends. I think they're high school friends, and he knew him from high school, and that's when Young Buck was hugely popular. Okay, particularly in Cashville. Like it was in that 50 Cent G Unit era, and it was a point out, and in that era, G Unit was the ish. 50 Cent was the ish. He was pretty much the king of New York, and that's how we view Young Buck in Cashville. He was our 50 Cent. All right. So the next Young Buck story is this is in the same area. I was driving down the street, and there's an Ed Fish house on one side, and then you had a hardware store on the other side, and then right next to the hardware store you got this discount tire store, okay, that sold $20 tires, okay, real cheap tires, all right. So if you balling on a budget, that's where you need to go, okay. You're not gonna, obviously you don't have the funds to spend for $100 tires, so you get the next best thing, which is a $20 tire, because I mean, and I wasn't living in Beverly Hills by any stretch of the imagination, but anywho, so Young Buck, I saw Young Buck. I used to see Young Buck drive up and down the streets of Cashville in a baby blue Benz, and this baby blue Benz was featured in music videos. It was on social media, and it was a wild Mercedes, a baby blue Benz. That mug was off the Chisang. Okay. So man, I'm dating myself. Chisang. Who says Chisang anymore? Okay, anywho. So this Young Buck story. I was driving down the street. Young Buck is I see Young Buck's car, Bentley, in the tire shop, and it was jacked up. I'm going like, whoa, Young Buck Benz is at the tire shop, the discount tire shop, the one that has the $20 tires. So I guess he was putting a set of tires on his baby blue Benz. Now I'm not trying to make fun of Young Buck. Maybe he already had these tires and he knew the owner over there, and they was going to put the new tires on. I don't know, but that's where I saw it at. And sometimes I would see him in that baby blue Benz up the street. There was this car wash, and he would frequent there. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Young Buck was a good, solid dude in Cashville. Nobody, I mean, he was our 50 Cent of Nashville, and no one had issues with Young Buck when he was in his prime. By the way, and in the last story, the last few stories, I saw Young Buck. I was going to the Titans game, and I passed an Exxon station, and there he was. I saw Young Buck, but this time he was in a Corvette, one of those real nice Corvettes. Okay, I think it was a Stingray, and a newer Stingray, not one of the old school Stingrays, and he was jumping back into the to his vet, and there was this girl that worked there, the gas attendant that was working there. And I have frequently went to this gas station. And let me tell you something. I don't know if she still works there, but she had the fattest of fattest ass. Okay. And he gave her a tour of his vet, because she always wanted to know. I don't know. I guess she never been in a vet before, and he was showing her around in the vet. Also, there was another story, real fast, real quick. I saw when I was going to Volunteer State for college. I saw Young Buck in baby blue Benz at yet again another gas station, and he was getting gas, and that's the final time I saw Young Buck out here publicly in these streets. He did a music video off Charlotte. I know the exact street where he did that music video, and it's when he was independent, and he was trying to make a comeback. He came out with an album that was shortly was removed by 50 Cent. Anyway, came with a music video and all that stuff. But other than that, that's the only time I have bear the witness of seeing Young Buck. And those are my 3 amazing stories about Young Buck. May not been entertaining, it may not been well informational, but hold on one second. But yeah, those are my stories of Young Buck, and I can certify him. I think he's a great, cool dude, really humbled, really laid back. Um, I just recently saw a video of this guy who does vlogs, and he came to Cashville, Tennessee a couple of months ago, and it was Chris something. I can't think of the content provider on YouTube. Not I'm Chris the Don One, but this guy name was Chris something. And Young Buck and one of his good friends was giving him a tour of Nashville, Cashville, and Young Buck still got his jewelry. I don't think it's at its apex when he was in his prime, but he still got his jewelry. He's still making money out here in these streets. I mean, Young Buck is not working at McDonald's or Waffle House, or Waffle House cook, or does security, top flight security. He's not doing none of that. He's still doing his thing. He's still out here, surviving and providing. All right. So, I know everyone outside of Cashville has their issues with Young Buck. But all I can say, all I'm gonna do is give Young Buck the same thing he gives me. He shows me love, he shows me appreciation. I'm gonna do the same for Young Buck. I'm gonna show him love, I'm gonna show him appreciation. And I hope cooler heads will prevail, and they can just squash the beef between 50 and Young Buck. And I think 50 is really spewing this beef, and and in 50 Cent's opinion, he feels like Young Buck wasn't loyal to him, and this, that, and the third. But I hopefully 50 Cent can just say, look, it was real and it was fun, but now it's not real fun anymore. How many times you're going to try to throw dirt on this man? I don't have no issues with 50 Cent. I don't have no issues with Young Buck. I don't want to be in the middle of their issues with one another, but I'm just saying, sometimes you got to say enough is enough. All right. But we're gonna move out of that topic, and we're gonna be talking about Timothy Scott versus The View. Why everyone's coming in and out, please hit the like button. And I don't know if you're gonna be here for the whole live or partial live. You're gonna watch it a little bit later on. Please hit the like button on your way in, as well as you're on your way out on this special edition of Too Early for This Podcast. Normally, I have this uploaded. Too Early for This Podcast premieres on Saturdays. I did say last Saturday there was not going to be a Too Early for This Podcast this week due to some unseen circumstances, which means I'm on vacation. Well, about to be on vacation, and I was unable to do. I will be unable to do it Too Early for This Podcast this Saturday. So, no days off. I decided to give you that. Still be a man of my word. No days off. I'm gonna have we're doing Too Early for This Podcast a little bit early. Y'all pretty much got a back-to-back Too Early for This Podcast. You got one that was last Saturday, and now you're getting this one for the Saturday that I'm gonna miss in this week. So no days off. We're gonna still keep it crack-a-lacking. Rate, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, family, and followers. Hit the notification bell. And if you want to be a stream sponsor like Ryan there, Ryan is today's stream sponsor. Well, all you have to do is donate either through Cash App, which is $ I'm Chris the Don 1, or you can do Super Chat, and I read your messages and also let you be the stream sponsor for the next rendition of Too Early for This Podcast. All right. So, moving forward, we're going to move from that, and we're going to be talking more so about Timothy Scott versus The View. Now, this was this was on social media a couple of days ago. I want to say it was a Monday. It was yesterday. But when I was doing research on it, it looked like to me they did this last week, but I could be wrong. I'm not a huge fan of The View. I don't, and then I also don't really follow politics. I do understand the players in politics, but as a content creator, the two things that you don't want to talk about on your YouTube channel is religion and politics, because it just puts a division in a lot of people, and you get a lot of crazies out there that's totally left with their thoughts and opinions. But Timothy Scott, who's on the Republican side of things, The View alleged, point of order with this backstory. The View says some not so flattering things about Timothy Scott and his thoughts, and basically Timothy Scott is not playing the blame game. He's not playing the blame Olympics. Okay, as a minority, as an African American male, and I guess The View said some not so flattering things to Mr. Scott, saying that he doesn't feel his accomplishments means that he's the minority when it comes to success. I forgot exactly the terminology that they were using, but basically saying that his accomplishments, the reason why he's so successful, his accomplishments and his success, it can't be done nor duplicated. Like he's in a rare category. Not so many African American male or females or minorities can achieve what Timothy Scott has demonstrated throughout his life. And basically he's saying, look, don't don't send a message like that, because it's irresponsible and it's really disrespectful to African Americans. Okay. And I kind of agree with him on large portion And if the ladies in the view would just allow him to speak, he would begin to speak, and then they would let him speak for like 10 seconds, and then they'll try to interrupt him with another topic. And then people do that. When people start doing that, then you're making sense to them. But they, instead of you allowing the individual to free speak freely, and allow him to tell the truth about himself, which I think this is a honest dude. But if let him allow to demonstrate his message, and don't take it personal, and don't be thin skinned, and don't let ego involve your decisions, and trying to make it into a smear campaign, and just allow the man to speak. I think there's a lot of I think the ladies on the View are seeing the forest from the trees, but there's a lot of young the male, females, youth out there that really need to listen to what he has to say, and maybe it will cause a spark in them in their life, particularly that young, that they want to start to embrace politics, and start to embrace other lanes into being successful and respectful human beings. Because we're living in a time, and the ladies on the View, including Whoopi Goldberg, they don't have to live in this time. They just do the show and then go to their condominiums or their gated communities, and life goes on. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have that opportunity. A lot of people out there are working 9 to 5 jobs, just getting up every morning, and going out. I mean, going to their job or going to school or whatever, but they have to deal with a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now. You know, uh, People are dying from gun violence. Is an all-time high. You have disgruntled employees, disgruntled students. You're dealing with homelessness. You're dealing with you know the dollar's not stretching. The economy is bad. The dollar's not stretching like it used to. You're paying Peter by not paying Paul. So there's a lot of people that's going through that, and they're living day by day. And just once, they want to hear somebody say, "Yeah, it's bad now, but you have the opportunities to turn your misfortunes into fortunes." All right. And that's all basically he was trying to demonstrate. He was saying, look, he's not an outlier. He wasn't born with he didn't have a silver spoon in his mouth. He wasn't he didn't come from wealth. He had to work hard to get to the point to where he is. And that's what he's saying. If you believe in the Lord, if you believe in yourself, and if you work hard at it, you have the potential of surpassing him, or having a better life than what you have right now. Instead of trying to play the blame game, trying to blame it on the white man, trying to blame it on the system, trying to blame it on government, try to blame it on your own community. Now, he was saying basically in this interview, kids now have a bevy of information. Kids now can achieve a lot quicker than the kids that was from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and the 80s. Well, hell, the 50s and 60s. Okay. So kids that were dealing with racism and civil rights in the 50s and 60s, the kids now don't have to deal with that. Okay. The struggles that kids were dealing with in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, kids today don't necessarily have to deal with it. They, they deal with racism, they deal with bigotry, they deal with, oh shoot, they deal with, people immediately assume, being a black man walking down the street, a lot of people look at you as a threat, race profiling. So yeah, there's elements of play of all that stuff that I just mentioned, but is it on a grand scale or is it on a smaller scale? Okay. Now more than ever, the kids today have better resource tools. They have better schools than the kids had back in the 50s and 60s. Technology is at an all-time high. Technology didn't even exist in the 50s and 60s. Okay. Um, this is a much smaller world than it was in the 50s and 60s. You can a kid now can travel around the world and or go to another country. Kids back in the 50s and 60s was not allowed to do that. Okay. Kids in the 50s and 60s deal with some form of slavery than what the ancestors ultimately had to deal with on a larger scale. Kids in the 50s and 60s had to deal with that on some small level, and that demonic way of thinking back then. Kids today don't necessarily have to deal with slavery. Okay. Is there bigotry? Is there still racism? Is there still bigotry? Is there still hate? Is there still a disrespect? Yeah, but is it at a larger scale or a smaller scale? Okay. And that's what Timothy Scott was demonstrating. He was saying, quit saying that he's an outlier. Quit saying that he's different from the rest of us. Okay. He did the same thing what anyone else has the capabilities of doing. You know, his experience, he dealt with stuff as a kid, and he utilized those experiences as stepping stones to get to the point to where he is today. Okay. So he's not playing the Special Olympics and the blame victim Olympics. I shouldn't say Special Olympics, but the victim blame Olympics. Now more than ever, we have African American and minority hosts on all of these major networks and major platforms, such as ESPN, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN. That's what he was alluding to. Okay, you have two minority, well, three minorities on the View. Okay, if the View existed in the 50s and 60s, we wouldn't have any representation of us as minorities on that show. You even have more African Americans and minorities as producers, writers, cameramen. Okay, creating these shows more so than back then. Okay, we have more politicians that are minority or African American or male and female that look like us, sound like us, that are totally us. Okay. We had a president who was African American. We had a vice president who was African American. Okay. My father, God rest his soul, he passed a few years ago, but he told me this when I can still remember this as a teenager, and he told me he would never see the day where we would have an African American in the president as a president or even a vice president. It was just wishful thinking when he was a child, and that's what he was telling us as children. It's just wishful thinking. It's never going to happen, son. It's never going to happen. Okay. And at some extent, my father was playing the victim Olympics. Okay. Because look at his whole life at that time. Okay. There was no one that looked like him, um, you know, getting the opportunity to be president of the United States or even a vice president. Yes, Jesse Jackson tried, keep hope alive and all that jazz. But even the African American community thought that was a huge, huge long shot for that to happen. Okay, but my father got the opportunity before he passed away to see an African American as president. He also got to see a a vice president. No, well, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My father passed away before Kamala Harris and Joe Biden took term. Okay, He didn't get a chance to see Kamala Harris as vice president, but he did get to see something that he thought he would never see in his lifetime, which is an African American that looks like us, sounds like us, walks like us. He's African American. Okay. Now, the other demographics is going to say, well, I mean, why is this so important to the African American community? Why is this so important to you? I'm Christian Don One. Why is so important to your father? Why it's so important? Okay, because we want someone that looks like us in these higher these higher seats that we only dreamed about. We never thought it was possible. But the impossible is possible now. Okay, we're about to have another African American becoming president in the Republican Party. Okay, I remember my father when he was talking about politics that there are no good people in the Republican Party. You're down for Democrats, okay? And the Republican Party has done some amazing things for minorities, for the African American community, but not that many great things, okay? But the mentality was in the household, you vote Democrat, okay? Nothing else, okay? And that type of narrow-minded thinking, you know, if we still continue to believe that, Timothy Scott wouldn't even get an opportunity nor a chance to get to the point that he's at right now. But there's other African Americans, there are other minorities, there are just other parties that believe in Timothy Scott. And now Timothy Scott is running for president. And I think he has a great shot, excuse me, of dethroning Joe Biden. Not a lot of African Americans are pleased with Joe Biden. All right. And Kamala Harris is just inheriting the disdain people have for Joe Biden. Joe Biden tried to put his best foot forward, but there's just some fires that he simply could not put out that fast and that quick in just only 4 years. I think he's a one-term president, such as Donald Trump, and we're just going to have a new face in the place. Okay, I thought things were looking up for him when he was trying to put in place in the debt bill that he was going to clear everyone's student loans. I thought that was the beginning of an upward click for his popularity. It didn't turn out the way he wanted it to turn out. He had to give up some things to put this bill in place, and that was one of the things. But there's a lot of people that have a lot of student loans that work at 9-to-5 jobs that desperately needed that to be resolved. Okay. But anywho, back to The View and Timothy Scott, and they made these scheduled commercial breaks. And, when you're in a different element, the people can dictate how you're going to be very successful in that element. And on a small, grand scale, with the View demonstrated to you that the powers that be dictate uh, whether or not people are going to perceive you as likable or not. It's hard to be likable when you can't even get a word in. It's hard to be likable to explain and tell your message, okay, your side of the thing. It's hard to be likable when you're going to a hostile environment and they're not even the audience is not even giving you a chance. They're cheering on these women in The View and they're booing him. And it's just too much noise and distraction, and he didn't get his message across. But he has the opportunity to tell his story once again on a grander scale, not on the View scale, but even on a grander scale when he tries to run for president. So Timothy Scott just has a vision that he wants all of us to have. Okay, stop blaming the system, the white man, the government on you're not succeeding. I think in large portion why a lot of people don't succeed, they don't believe in themselves. You have to believe in yourself somewhat to get to point A to point B. It doesn't matter if you're trying to become president of the United States or a manager at a restaurant or trying to get that promotion. You know, if you work hard, you can do a lot of extraordinary things in your life that people that looked like you, particularly in the African American community back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they didn't even have the opportunity to get to the point where you are today because the laws dictated whether or not uh, they can get these promotions or they were free or things. They just had a lot of things in a lot of hurdles in front of them that they had to maneuver and jump over. Uh, to if you look at today, there are hurdles, but it's not as many hurdles as it was in the 50s and 60s. Okay, that's basically what he's saying in a nutshell. So give the man a shot, give him a break. I just felt like the View, and when you read articles and you watch videos and news on it, you know, no one is saying that uh, that's a W for the View. That's a W for Whoopi Goldberg. That's a W for those women over there. They Everyone is viewing them as spoiled children who just simply just couldn't have their way. Okay, placating to uh, a, a small demographic that really thinks and really believes that the real reason why they're not successful is because of these hurdles, okay? And these imaginative hurdles. Now, are there hurdles? Yeah, there are hurdles, but I don't think it's many hurdles as it is now as it once was back then. And I just think everyone has, you know, um, memory loss or a select form of amnesia, and people just don't pay attention to history. Okay, and they don't look at the stats. You know, women lie, men lie, but the numbers don't. But anywho, yeah, that's all I got to say about the Timothy Scott thing. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. But yeah, moving from that, hold on one second, guys. Give me a break here. Give me a break. Let me clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. Na, 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 na. Okay, back to it. Back to it. Back to it. Other news and notes. Cardi B promised new music. She didn't set a date. A date is not set in stone, but she's promising new music. Nicki Minaj saying her new album is going to come out in October. Ice Spice got nominated for Munch, and they demonstrated it live on stage. So if you're an Ice Spice fan, congrats. Uh, and that's just about it with music news. There were some other things I was going to talk about, but it's just some light stuff that's really not that serious. Apple had a showcase Monday, and they're getting into VR heavily. Okay, now Sony has already been on the VR trail, as well as other companies are going into VR. Facebook is integrating a lot of their services for VR. I think VR is just the new frontier of, me personally. Hold on one second. I say me personally. I think VR is it's a gift and a curse. I think people are not looking at VR this way. I feel like I remember there was a movie a long time ago where the Matrix, where people were stuck in the Matrix and they had these VR headsets, and people like their make believe life more so than their actual life. and then they were stuck in the machines, and the machines took over and consumed them, and this, that, and the third. I'm not saying that's going to happen with VR, but I do feel like people are going to be in VR way too much than in actual life, and they're going to achieve a lot of stuff in VR that's meaningless and pointless in real life. Okay, I think a lot of people are going to go into VR with that. With there's going to be a gift and a curse with the VR stuff. But if you look at the VR landscape, you can see that's what it's transitioning into. If you're, I feel like, a lot of companies are going to benefit from VR. Apple's going to be one of them as far as the equipment and the services that they offering and providing, as well as Sony and other companies who have the equipment, who have the technology, who are heavily experienced in the VR game. When you're talking about games and services, and I think one point in time people are going to be seeing their favorite shows in VR. Okay, so this is uncharted territory, and VR has been making a huge surge more recently. uh, VR is more popular than it was when it was introduced, like, what was it, 3-4 years ago. I think more people now more than ever want to have the VR experience. I do feel like, if you look at the today's games, they're moving away from the old format into playing video games, and more so building video games that can also, that same game can be funneled in VR. If you look at the new games, and if you pay attention to gamers around the world are saying, gaming pretty much sucks a little bit. You know, Developers they're taking, they're not making actual video games that hardcore gamers want to play, and they're barely making video games for casual gamers. They're making a lot of games for the casual gamers, excuse me, but they're really are trying to make VR games to please the VR market out there. So, because Sony has equipment, a lot of these companies have the VR equipment, but you need services, games, and programming to continue the hunger and the appetite for people that's into VR. And if you look at these more recent games, they're not the Call of Duties, the NBA 2Ks, the Grand Theft Autos, the Battlefields, and a lot of hardcore gamers feel like, they're no longer game the gaming industry is no longer catering to them. Okay, which they haven't been catering to hardcore gamers for some time now. If you look at Fortnite, you know what makes Fortnite so successful? It's a casual game that you can just get in, play, and get out, or play as long as you want. So it's a service game as well. So if you look at the successful games, that's what a lot of these uh, game publishers and studios and things of that nature are making. And they're making a lot of games that will please the casual gamers as well as the VR gamers. All right. I think they just left the hardcore gamers, left them a long time ago. All right. So yeah, Apple introduced their new VR equipment. They also talked about new updates that our iPhones are going to be having with iMessage and voice call and all that stuff. So Apple is, and they also talked about some technology where if you tap your iPhone to another iPhone user, you can give that iPhone user your information. And I feel like that's very important, not to just freely give your information, but like if you're doing business, and you're trying to do business with someone else, you would always talk to them. But if they're unsure about what you're selling to them, and they want to talk to you at another time and at another date, which, by the way, food for thought, if you're a salesman and they can't make a decision now and they have to give you a couple of days to think about it, the the percentage chance of you striking a deal with that person is very low. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, you normally give them your business card or your contact information. Now, iPhone got technology where your iPhone is your business card. You just tap your iPhone to their iPhone and they get your business information, your business card, and everything about the business. And they can take it home with them and discuss it among their significant other, or just, just think about it with some brandy on the side. Okay. But yeah, Apple's going to have that type of technology. You know, After that presentation, people were talking about the good and the bad about this technology, how people in the world are not going to be safe. Now, Apple will have some implications and some tools in place where you know, some security in place to where not anybody can get at you. Okay, so get your personal information. But yeah, that was the presentation of Apple, the Apple presentation that premiered yesterday. I watched a glimpse of it, but I didn't watch the whole presentation. I think Disney is going to do something with Apple and Disney Plus, which we're moving towards the streaming services. And I remember talking about this on I'm Chris Don One podcast, which is on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast indulgement from. We talked about the streaming wars and how there's a lot of streaming services that are going to have to merge or sell their content off, similar to what Sony's doing with The Last of Us and a lot of their IPs. They just sell them off to different streaming services. But one of the streaming, they talk about all the streaming services that are making money, and they talk about all the streaming services that have, money. They got an endless amount of money, such as Amazon. And then you got Paramount Plus. Now, Paramount Plus have the more subscribers, but they're not making the most money. And low-key, I think Paramount Plus have great content. With the Star Trek franchise on Paramount Plus, you got I forgot that. Well, anyway, you got Sylvester Stallone's IP that's on Paramount Plus. Mayor of Kingstown, you got that. And then you got the CBS stuff, MTV, and just anything that's related to Paramount is tied to Paramount Plus. They also got live sports games that are on Paramount Plus, but with all of that, and they got they got a ton of subscribers. It don't equate to how much money that they're making, and they're making money, but they're making it somewhat at a loss. So there's talk about maybe Paramount Plus shutting down and doing the same copy and paste. Hold on one second. They're going to take the same format like what Sony did. Sony was thinking about having a streaming service, but they thought it'd be more beneficial to create the content and then put their content on all the other successful streaming services. Okay. And I think that's what Paramount Plus is their final place going to be. I think they're going to still keep Paramount Plus as long as they can, but if they continue to on this path of losing money, then one of the options is making Paramount Plus, making the Paramount Plus content, putting it under the Paramount Plus umbrella, but selling it to a Hulu, a Netflix, and Apple TV, Amazon. The list goes on and on and on. Maybe on all of those platforms to make ends meet and to sell the IP, and they can flourish making a profit doing it that way instead of trying to pay for the app and putting the content there. Even though they make good content and they got a huge following, it's not equating to a lot of sales. So that's one way of doing it. MGM Plus, you know, they have an app, but their app is integrated with Amazon. All right. Where if you got Amazon Prime for $5 or $10 more, you get MGM Plus, and you get to see. And I think they got some good content over there. Okay. Uh, they got the Harlem. I think it's Mayor of Harlem or King of Harlem. They got that. They got From. The writers and producers of Lost made From. That's a very cult following hit. They also got Billy the Kid. I haven't watched Billy the Kid. And they also have the James Bond series. So yeah, you can do it on your own and have your own streaming service and make content for your streaming service, or you can make the content and sell your content and distribute your content on these other streaming services. Still, I was reading an article, and they say the ones that are making the money or making their bag is Netflix, Hulu, which they're pretty much all the same. We talked about that. The Max, and I forgot the fourth one. There was four of them that are making a profit. I do apologize. I should have wrote all this stuff down. And then everybody else is fighting for fifth, sixth, and seventh place. There's just too many streaming services. They're gonna have to trim the fat down. Oh, Disney Plus. Disney Plus was the fourth one. So you got my fault. Hulu and Disney Plus, which we talked about how Disney Plus is going to have a lot of Hulu content because Disney is going to own Hulu. So they're pretty much one in the same. I don't know if they're going to coexist together or they're going to merge together. You got to ask them. And then you got Hulu and Netflix and then the Max. Okay. You got that commanding five, the solid five that are very profitable. Then you got the ones that maybe not as profitable as the five that I just mentioned. But then you have Apple Plus and Amazon, but they just got bigger wallets. They got bigger pockets. They're printing money at Apple. That's $1 trillion organization. They're not losing money anytime soon, but they're not going to take a loss. If something is really losing, they're not going to keep supporting it. But Apple Plus is maybe not the popular one and maybe not making the most money, but it is making money. And then you got Amazon, you got Prime. Amazon is deep pockets. Okay, they're printing money as well. And they're making money, but they're not making the type of money that what Disney Plus is making. Okay, if that makes sense. So yeah, there you have it. All right. So that's just about it. I'm just going to end the stream right here. I really do appreciate everyone that came in, stopped by. Some people stayed through the whole presentation of Too Early for This podcast. Some came and then left. All right. I want to say this before we end today's stream. There will be no stream on Saturday. The live stream that you're listening to right now was supposed to have been for this up and coming Saturday. I told you guys that I start vacation on Thursday. So there's no Too Early for This podcast this up and coming Saturday. I told you guys last Saturday I was just going to skip Saturday, but I said to myself, no days off. We'll just do it a few days early. That's what we did. And so you got another Too Early for This podcast in a matter of 2 short days. All right. Hope y'all guys appreciate that. And to show your appreciation to me, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure the notification is select to all. If you want to support the channel, then hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its privileges. I told you the different tiers that I discussed. All that information is on the join. Once you hit the join membership button, it tells you the prices and tells you the benefits of each different tier. There's 3 tiers. And if you want to support the channel even further, You can hit the super chat as well as Cash App. The one who bids the most will be the stream sponsor. Or I might just write your names down, and every day everybody's going to be a stream sponsor, because I don't think I'm gonna be making money like that. Okay, but today stream sponsor again is Ryan. Ryan is our stream sponsor. She donated to the cause. Don Squad in the house, stand up, salute. I really do appreciate that, Ryan. I wasn't asking for it, but she liked and thoroughly enjoyed my content. So I really do appreciate that, Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan, if you're out there. Also, go follow the Dream. The Dream messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be out making content." So that's why we haven't seen a lot of new content from the Dream. She's out. She's probably out on multiple car shows, making videos, and probably when she's done on her car show tour, she's going to give us a bevy of car show vlogs and videos. So support her. I really do like the Dream. She's a real cool gal. She's heavily involved in car content, if you guys like car content. Also, Just Me Nicole. She does vlogs and beauty. Go check her out. Tell her I'm Krista Don One sent you. Also, check out Makeup University. She did 2 live streams I haven't even watched yet. They were real short, so I'm gonna watch her live streams once I get done here. I was supposed to have done that yesterday, okay? But the boy got mad busy. All right. So go check out those content providers. Yeah, I know they're small, such as myself, but we need to support the small content providers, because if it wasn't enough smaller content providers uploading content, then you guys wouldn't be coming to YouTube every day. Because the larger content creators, they make a video once a week, maybe once a month, and then they're good in the hood. All right. I do apologize for the noise in the background. I do apologize for that. But anyway, yeah. So, I wanted to mention that before we end today's live stream. There's also some news and notes, little tidbits, news and notes here and there. Sean McCoy is the leading candidate to replace Shannon Sharp on Undisputed. LaShawn McCoy, they used to call him what was his nickname? Oh my God. Anyway, I forgot his nickname. He was a running back in the NFL. He's on Speak. I think he does great work on Speak. That's not an upgrade. I'm not disrespecting LaShawn McCoy. But that's not a replacement, and it's hard to replace someone that's good. All right. Do anyone remember when Skip Bayless left ESPN and First Take, and then they found their replacement after months and months of searching? It was Max Kellerman. And the first thing everyone said, including myself, that isn't an upgrade. Okay. It took us a while to start liking Max and liking his takes. Okay. When he left First Take, he was likable, but he was still, when he left First Take, he didn't replace Skip Bayless. And it's hard to replace greatness. All right. Or someone that is ultra popular. And I think LaShawn McCoy, we're not going to forget about Shannon Sharp anytime soon. And we're going to have to, as he continues to do the show, if he becomes Skip Bayless's debate partner, we're just going to have to learn to like him. All right. So I saw him on Speak. He also has done some work on the NFL Network. I hope that's not the only candidate that they interview. Now, they also said in this article that they have other people that they're interested in. But just like those other people in LaShawn McCoy, they're going to have to interview with Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless runs the Undisputed. He has control. He's the executive producer. We talked about all that stuff, and it's got to be a perfect match and a perfect fit to get the blessing of Skip Bayless. But obviously, like we talked about a couple of days ago, and I also talked about this on Just My Opinion podcast. I did a live stream yesterday and talked about it. Go check that out, by the way. All the links are in the description below. But we talked about that. And I talked about how Skip Bayless has the final word and the final say so on who gets hired and who doesn't get hired. So yeah. I think that's a choice, but I don't think that's the choice. I'm still hedging my bets on Nick Wright. If you're talking about internally on Fox Sports 1, my two solid ones internally at Fox Sports 1 is Nick Wright and Emmanuel Acho. I have always been on the Emmanuel Acho train. I think his personality blends very well with Skip Bayless. And there's, look, I like Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp, over the 7 years at Undisputed, his star is shining even hotter. His popularity is through the stratosphere. Okay, comedic, funny, informational. I'm not taking nothing away from Shannon Sharp, but Shannon Sharp can sometimes be irritable, particularly if you're thin-skinned, and particularly if sometimes Shannon Sharp, even though he does have amazing takes and things of that nature, let's just be fair. We're gonna be fair about Skip Bayless. Let's be fair about Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp acts sometimes very immature and childish, where someone else could perceive that as being irritable and a challenge to work with on a day in, day out basis. And he's also very jealous and personal with particularly with people that you perceive as high regard that he doesn't perceive. Okay, so you got to take the good and the bad with the Shannon Sharp, but there's a more good about Shannon Sharp than bad. All right, and I'm not saying Skip Bayless is a victim. Skip Bayless got a lot of good and bad in him. I think Skip Bayless view things differently than the rest of us, and some people will perceive that as just Skip Bayless hating on LeBron James or Skip Bayless hating on whoever. But when you got two alphas and they're fighting for territory, and like I told you guys a couple of live streams ago, this wasn't about the tweet about what Skip Bayless said about DeMar Hamlin, or what Skip Bayless said on the air about Tom Brady had a better NFL career than Shannon Sharp. And it's not about when Shannon Sharp acts very childish and very immature a time or two on the show, as well as Skip Bayless's massive ego is very irritated to Shannon Sharp. I told you guys from the beginning, and I'm going to continue to say this. This was about money and control. Whoever has the money whoever has the more money and the more control, dictates the show. And obviously, Fox Sports 1 made their bed with Skip Bayless because they liked Skip Bayless so much. They gave him one amazing contract with a major bag, but they gave him another major contract with a major bag. So Shannon Sharp should have knew from the get-go, once Skip Bayless got what he wanted from FS1, more control and more money. I just didn't see why Shannon Sharp. Maybe Shannon Sharp saw this coming. I'm going to give him credit where credit due, and he's probably saying, "Okay, I need to start doing my own thing. All right, because I need to sell right now because my star is not getting any brighter. I'm already ultra popular, and I can utilize these two tools to either go independent or bid or go to another network. Now, there's probably language in that buyout that dictates to Fox Sports 1, okay, are you going to be able to go to ESPN once you're done with FS1? Or do you have to, are they going to say, like, you can only go to the competitors a year later? And that's really based on his relationship with Fox Sports 1. And we won't know any of that language until it's official that Shannon Sharp no longer works at FS1. All right. But these two could sometimes be abrasive. And I told you guys it wasn't about uh, the insults or being mature or just hating, whatever. This is more so about money and power. I said that from the beginning, and I'm going to say that to the end. All right. And I gave you guys some great information on why I believe that. And Marcellus Wiley co-signed to what I agreed to. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there, even the New York Post, excuse me, when it came out with the article that Shannon Sharp was leaving Fox Sports 1. Okay. Stevie Wonder could see that first and foremost. We knew that this was going to be the end of the road of that dynamic. Okay. Because like I told you guys earlier, that when Shannon Sharp contract ended last summer, his representative and Shannon Sharp saying, hey, look, if Fox Sports 1 wants us, they're going to have to give us a bag. Okay. We want to be in that A tier. The same type of money that you're giving Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith is getting that money. And now more recently, Pat McAfee. Okay. Shannon Sharp, put some respect on his name. He should be in that A gap. Okay. And Fox Sports 1 said, nah, we are lining ourselves up with Shannon Sharp. We're not going to have a show where two of them are getting the major bag. And it wasn't necessarily about the money, more so about security and more so about control. Shannon Sharp wants more control on Undisputed. The problem is Fox Sports 1 has already gave away all that control to Skip Bayless. So it's not like Fox Sports 1 can do him a solid and take away some of Skip Bayless' control and give it to Shannon Sharp. So that's why you knew that this was ultimately going to head where it ultimately hit. But yeah, LaShawn McCoy is the front runner as a replacement for Shannon Sharp. I hope that's not true. I feel like internally it's down to two people and two people only: Emmanuel Acho, Nick Wright. And if you talk about people outside of that, the possibilities are endless. I think they got all. I think the list is even longer for if you're trying to replace Shannon Sharp for someone that's outside of the complex of Fox Sports 1. And I talked about it on Just My Opinion podcast. You guys can re-listen to that live stream that premiered yesterday. All the links are in the description down below. All right. So I really do appreciate people now coming in. Could you do your boy a favor? Can you do your boy a solid? Hit the like button. Share this content with your friends, family, and followers. I'm so sorry, but I'm about to wrap this up. I gave you guys 2 live streams of too early for this podcast. The stream sponsor, by the way, is Ryan. Ryan donated through Cash App, which is $ I'm Chris Don 1. She's going to be the stream sponsor. Even though I gave her credit on the last stream, I wanted to make it official on this stream. Anyone that donates through Super Chat or donates through Cash App, you're going to be the stream sponsor as well. All right. So Ryan is my stream sponsor for this live stream. Hope everyone liked this live stream. If you caught the tail end of this live stream, just rewatch it again. I dropped some amazing jewels on this live stream. Okay, we talked about everything. All right. But guys, I got to get up out of here. I will see you guys next week. Something breaks, I'll do a quick video on it. But like I said, I'm starting my vacation Thursday. So that's the reason why I did too early for this podcast a couple of days early. So no days off. So you got 2 live streams of too early for this podcast that you can be thoroughly entertained by. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag a boast. And I'm coming to you guys live from Ghost to Ghost. It's your boy, I'll see you guys bright and early next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right. I'm up out of here. Hope everyone has a great week and an amazing weekend. And I will see you when I see you. Deuces. Outro. Oh, be on the lookout for I'm Chris and Don One podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, wherever you get your podcast indulgement from. Going to have a great show next Saturday. It's going to premiere next Saturday. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. All right, I'm up out of here. Deuce.